finally going on. Okay.
Right back, break.
Yeah, we'll give it a shot here. The Old Tube Radio Network. The skip is loud from the Pacific Ocean, Australia, as it sometimes does as we leave our gray line and they enter theirs. Your Old Tube Radio Network will give it a shot here on 27085.
You may not find us on your TV because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
Where are we at? The Old Tube Radio Network. Real radio is glowing in the dark. Cycle 25 is certainly up and running. They're telling me straight in the tie. How's that? Looking pretty good. 27085 is the frequency, channel 11 in the Central Valley of California, where you might find us live and direct. The Old Tube Radio Network since around 1986 on a Saturday evening. Listening to, talking about, and checking in those classic tube radios from 1958, the inception of the Class D 11-meter citizen radio service, to about 1978 when they just didn't make them anymore. But our classic tube radio operators, shortwave listeners, will be around to join us tonight at oldtuberadio.net, streaming audio, and some listeners there, and on the YouTube video link as well, some listeners and viewers there as well. We'll be checking in with you. My name is Dennis, one of the many net control operators to sit in the air chair of the Old Tube Radio Network. We start with the directed net roll call of the shortwave listeners, and then after that we will be talking with, checking in, and trying to get some photos of the classic tube radios from back in the era. And if you were not around on CB radio back in those days, we also try to recreate the sound and the demeanor that you may have encountered or might have encountered at that time. If you were around, you know what we're talking about, and you can join us and have a great time, as we all will. Starting off with a roll call. Before I do that, let me get if anybody needs an early check-in or trying to check in through the skip. OTR is listening. Over.
Yeah, hey, breaker, Dennis, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Over.
I'd like to check in early, big brother. Yeah, I was getting some lightning over here in my neighborhood, so B53 Bel Air checking in there, 10-4.
All right, I will do that. Yeah, when I was setting up around 5 p.m. here Pacific Standard Time, we had a big storm. They had the tornado warning going on, but seems to be a little bit better. So I will get you checked in. If you're playing the home game, we're putting the X in 3/11/2023. Thank you, Bob.
Welcome there, Dennis. You have a good weekend. 73. I'm back quiet.
All right, and I know we had an early check-in, I think, on the crossband. Let me try it out here. KB6GFD. And here is a check-in from the crossband. Hello, Aaron.
Good evening, Dennis, and to all the SWLs out there. SWL 52 on the mobile. K6USY.
All right, sounding good, sir. Be careful out there. I know it's a little bit of rain. You might see some lightning in the distance, but you are sounding good, and we have you checked in. Thanks for joining us, KB6GFD. The break OTR, go ahead. The number again, over. All right, just trying to get some early check-ins, and we'll do that. And you can check in any time. Where as long as you see the glowing 6L6 at oldtuberadio.net, we are on the air. So don't fret if you can't get in over the skip. You can come back when it is convenient. We will get the check-in. Speaking of the check-in, our 00 for this 8-week period is Dwayne, SWL30. And Dwayne is out there saying good evening. 00 checking in, also known as 00, and he's going to be listening to the California area, hopefully tonight. We'll see if we can get you checked in. Thanks, Dwayne. We've got you checked in. Let me get the SWL log going. I have to have this one right here. No, I have to have this one here. We have to go to the SWL list, and we should be getting things started. Sometimes it doesn't quite work well, but I think right now it is showing that we are on. Yeah, looking good. Let me get SWL number 1 checked in, and also Mr. OBP, SWL number 2, who is out at the video chat. So say hello to Kevin, won't you? Mr. OBP saying that our sunspot numbers are down a little bit from what they were a few days ago, but of course the KP index at K-index at a little under 3. So it could make for some interesting conditions, and we do have openings right now. So we'll see if we get the sporadic E-skip. Thank you, Kevin, for joining us, and also making an appearance over on the old radio night tonight with JT and all the gang out there. Many of you who are joining us tonight, so glad to have you along.
Thanks for the comeback and the chit-chat and the get-back, my friend.
The break OTR, go ahead.
Take it on each.
Yeah, Dennis, I'm going to shut this thing down for a while. I've got so much noise here, it's even hard to hear you. I mean, I've got it's like almost 8 static. It's very, very bad. So I'll try to get back on in a little while. If not, check me in on early.
Roger that.
Okay, yeah, not a problem. Our gray line has lasted past, you can see the people watching can see the window behind me. It is definitely dark. We're past our gray line period, but it's still up and running with the sunspot numbers. Chris got you in. Stop back by when things get quiet. Got you checked in.
All right, thank you. I'll try.
All right, let me adjust some audio here. SWL 37 in on the check-in. We'll also get SWL 3. Lone Eagle, who is, I'm not sure if the Clovis Amateur Radio Pioneers are doing anything this weekend in the rain. I don't know if there's any special events going on. Mr. Rainmaker, SWL5, Levon, from his appearance over at Old Radio Night, here from the Hudson Valley, New York to Central California. Thank you. Let's thank you, Levon, for checking in. There's things popping up on my screen that I don't need, so and they don't want to go away. All right, you have to hit the proper X to do that. Let's go to SWL7. And I think Mr. Ed said to get him proxy, but he might stop by a little bit later on tonight with a live and direct check-in, which is always a good thing. Over to SWL10, Chrissy is in, and I think she said she might have a recipe tonight. I'm not sure. We'll see when she comes in. Over to SWL11, Mr. Cornbread. Yeah, someone did say Fresno, capital N-O, with a Fres in there somewhere. And Dapper Dan, I am doing my best. And the pocket protector is good. The tie is straight. My hair is combed, and I even brushed my teeth. And what do they say? Oh, he says to be classy. Oops, everything's falling off the table. To be classy, they gave me my Ovaltine and one of these really nice glasses from the bar over in the green room. So salute with the Ovaltine. SWL 12, Dapper Dan, dapper as ever, and we got you checked in. SWL 13, let me check over at oldtuberadio.net. It is indeed available and possible to check in on the .net site, and I will keep an eye to see who is up and around. A lot of you up there tonight. We'll go through the stations and where they are at in moments. Let's try Sangertown. It may be a little rough to go out to Sanger right now, but we will get you when the band conditions. Hello, Sean. Oh my gosh, even better than I thought. I was getting ready to press my hands against the headphoniums, and I do not need to do that. You're sounding good. Of course, some of the S9 signals from Australia do make it a bit rough. You're doing good. We'll be able to get you checked, and I think with no problem. Thank you, 14. Over we go to SWL 15 now. Charlie, where's Charlie? Oh, he's over. Charlie is working over at the elevator tonight, working on the bulletin board. They're doing a big revamp of the bulletin board, so he said he was going to be over there. There's various parts, like a chalkboard and a cork board, and this little magnetic letters they put on. So he's fixing that up. So we will get Charlie checked in, and the board will be ready to go. SWL 17. Wait, is skip line? What is the? Let me check the S meter here. Here's what's going on in Central California right now.
This time I'm gone. Quick.
Yeah, Australia at S9. The locals, if we're lucky, at S9. It will fade out. Let's try SWL 18. And they're saying, okay, we have a Facebook check-in from Mr. KDA. SWL 19, Chet is on the cue cards. You know, and someone wrote a letter. Someone wrote a letter out here that says, you don't, what are you talking about cue cards? Anyway, let me show him. Okay, Chet's got that. He's behind the camera here, and Chet is on the cue cards tonight. So that's why I always sound so intelligent, because I am, okay. They're helping me out. I actually have to have help. After 36 years, you would think maybe I would know what to do. But thank you, Chet. Got you checked in. Let's go over to out of Derby, New York. By the way, I don't know how he does it. SWL 20.
Oh my goodness. Number 20 here. I hope you can hear me through all the mess. Check in 29 and 54 also. Thank you.
Okay, I will get the rest of the group. I hear you really loud throughout them. You have the Harvey range boost going on. It sounds quite nice, and doing a number over the Australia. Now, if Australia would listen and go over to oldtuberadio.net, they would hear their little, what do they call it, video game that we do. And they hear how nice they sound, and maybe they would check in as well. You are sounding good, Harvey, and hopefully we'll hear some radios from your end. Over.
Order. I'll be checking in a radio of interest. Thank you much.
A radio of interest is a good thing. SWL 21, Mr. JT. Live and direct, of course, from the South Carolina Wasama Swamps and the Old Radio Night. Many of you joining us from ORN, where this week, what was the featured radio? I'm going to see if we can't get a shot of the featured radio. There it is. Really cool. I thought it was a realistic, but it's actually it's the Royce 641. It's called a Black Cat. No, I'm sorry. It's a 641, and the reverse preamp is a Black Cat. Here's some audio.
You can see that light.
Coming from ORN tonight.
The camera don't want to look at it. But it's a real pleasant green, soothing. I call it a soothing green, you know, whenever you're up all night messing with the radio.
Perfect for St. Patrick's Day, right? We're on channel 12, nice wood case. I think he said it was from 1976. And this was a couple hours ago, out of the Wasama Swamps, and they had their own skipland going on at the moment.
92. I don't know if you can hear me over there or not. They're 92, 21. We trying.
And of course, Mr. JT, as always, just keying the microphonium and being heard wherever it is that he's supposed to be heard. JT, thanks for joining us. Enjoyed ORN, as many of us do. Let's go to SWL 22. And that is Tyler. I was looking to see if he was on Echolink. I don't see him at Echolink. And because the band conditions are such, he might be listening in. Hello, 22, over the air. Well, don't have quite the conditions I possibly thought. But I'm going to get a proxy check in for Tyler, and he might join us a little bit later. 23 Skidoo, SWL 23, who is probably climbing the mountain top out where he is, and that big knife switch that says skip on and off, he's going to pull the knife switch down and turn off the skip for us at some point.
Bye-bye.
Let's go to SWL 24.
24, checking in.
All right, thanks for joining us, and we've got you checked in. Thank you, Joseph.
Talking at once and talking a little figure
SWL 25.
In, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but our Hawaiian friends are very active tonight. Anyway, 25 checking in, and hopefully everybody's staying high and dry. Back to you, Dennis.
Yeah, we're doing good. I'm just checking. I hear things dropping on the floor. I hear you just fine when I'm not keying my radio in the wrong position. So I hope you survive the storm out there. I don't know. You're in a high spot, so you shouldn't have any flooding to worry about over there.
Well, just a rain runoff. I mean, we have heavy rains, like we're, I guess, calling for maybe Monday, Tuesday. I'm already sandbagged, so we're prepared. Anyway, hope you're all right and be safe.
All right, good deal. I know there's a lot of hard pans, so the rain doesn't soak in like it does around here, so you are good to go. Thanks for joining us. I'll get 74 checked in as well. All right, and you can hear the skip is starting to fade out. And it'll do that. It gets that really great peak, 20 over, and then in about 5 minutes, dumps out, little swan dives. Does the same thing on a lot of the bands, 20 meters, 10 meters. You always know when you're talking to that station and they're as strong as a local, you've got about 2 or 3 more contacts to go before they are off the log. Over to page 2, SWL 27. Hello, Dwayne.
27's checking in via the FM crossband. KI6QL.
All right, and we've got you via the FM crossband. I was hearing you in my headphoniums, and I had to decide, where is he? And I know where you are. You're sounding good. I hope you are surviving the storms and staying safe. Thanks for checking in 27, KB6GFD.
Roger. Thanks, Dennis.
From the crossband. That's our second crossband tonight. Seems to be pretty popular tonight on our radio. Let's go over to, I think we would have to find a pretty decent repeater for me to do crossband, and we could do it. Have to use repeater, though, from Gary in Sacramento. I think there's probably some hops we could do it. Maybe Diablo or Mount Oso. We're Mr. Gary to be a amateur radio operator, which he just might be. SWL 28. And he may be hunkered down for the storm coming up. While we are here, let me run over to SWL, because he is live and direct, where it's very late where he's there. But SWL 47, Neil's in. We will get you checked in. Checking in tonight with us and letting us know that good skip from the West Coast, but too many big radios. Yeah, sometimes it is very, very possible to have 5 watts and talk back and forth, now that it's actually legal to do the 150 plus mile thing with your standard 5-watt DC input. But sometimes those that are running a little bit more than 5 watts, like you say, make it a bit difficult. Kakalaki stuck in the mud? I bet I could hear you. You're getting more rain out there? Yes, question mark. We got some yesterday, some more today. We are well above the totals. There have been flash flood warnings and tornado warnings going on today, but I don't think we have anything super serious yet, but there is more rain. So it is going to get very interesting to see how they're going to store the water and how they're going to release it. From the North Carolina Sandhills, thank you, Neil. We've got you checked in. Over to, where are we at? Page 2. Let's just started page 2. Called Gary. Got a check-in for a 2-9er. Mr. Loner got a proxy check-in, and the guy that checked in, the 2-for-1 coupon, the guy that checked in is 00, Dwayne, gets checked in one more time. It's deja vu all over again for SWL 30. Let's try SWL 31. SWL 32. SWL 33, that is myself, Bozo Control, all of the gang here at Net Control. The honking proboscis says it all. Over to Jimmy and Captain Chaos, SWL 34.
Hear you on 1. I have a walkie-talkie here and I can hear you right now. Normal 3B here, 33, but anyway, that's okay. Thanks for coming back to me, 33. You're booming in over here.
All right, so there's another 33 out there talking on the walkie-talkie. Very interesting tonight. Let me go over to oldtuberadio.net. I got to refresh the comments and see what is happening in Cheyenne, Wyoming tonight. Our friend Mr. Bill and Red Monkey Communications out there. Who is checking in? I don't see Bill, but I do see Mr. Cobra. Michael, we'll get you checked in. SWL 13 looking good. Over. Yeah, Foxman, that is... on the West Coast, we get Hawaii, which is fading in and out. Australia, which you can hear is coming in quite strong. New Zealand, as their gray line will be happening soon. Ours just concluded. So that's what happens on these here confounded radio frequencies. SWL 36.
33, Big Mouth, shifting out. Blah, blah, blah.
And you wonder, they're talking, the whole West Coast is open. So they're talking to the big stations down there in Southern California, probably out in Compton, stations up in Seattle, up in the San Francisco Bay Area. So maybe even here, we've got our own great sounding DX stations here in Central California. If they go to the flat side and point the other way, I won't even hear them locally, 10 miles away, but they'll be sounding good. In the Pacific. Let's go to SWL 37, who checked in moments ago. So we got Chris in. Over to SWL 38. Hello, Sam. I think you're going to have to cart yourself out to New Zealand, Sam, for me to hear you.
Big Mouth up there, standing by. Break it.
And Travis, I agree. We do miss Cheyenne, Wyoming. I'm hoping he will make a trek into the valley here coming up soon. I know he does it occasionally. Always good to hear him coming through the speaker on the two-way.
3200, the Big Mouth shifting out. Blah, blah, blah.
Now they're talking to 00. Is Dwayne talking to Australia? Are you talking to Australia, Dwayne? I hear them talking to 00 out there. Let's try SWL 39.
3600, you can do it too. 3600, Big Mouth, right in the hand, getting down backward. Blah, blah, blah.
No, it's the 3600. Let's go to SWL 40. And just a reminder, as the skip is kind of rough, if you try to check in and I didn't acknowledge you, you didn't see the the check-in, the official check-in, come on back during the tube talk or whatever. We will get you checked in, no problem. Road Dog 507 should be able to hear you through the skip, no problem. SWL 41. And of course, from the Hudson Valley CB Radio Club, Hudson Valley, New York. Good evening, everyone. 41 is checking in on a late, and it's going to be even later tonight, right? It is the spring forward where we lose an hour if you wait till 2 a.m. to rotate the clock. Or the digital, if you've got your Squire Sander tube radio, you have to flip the little knob and those little, the flaps with all the numbers go over. I don't know what they call that. It's not digital. I don't know what you call that, but pretty cool. Let's go to SWL 42. SWL 43. Got a proxy for Crazy Eddie. SWL 44. And I have been, because of my schedule, I haven't been able to check into the Wednesday nets, the Friday nets, but that should change. I missed Friday, but I think coming up here for the rest of the month, I should do okay. Paul, if you're listening, maybe you're online. I don't know who's online here. Up in the balcony, Germantown, Wisconsin, hello to you. They have a special, the boys from Squamish have a special little goodie bag for you. They'll bring it up. Germantown, Wisconsin, one of our regular listeners on the digital side. Where is this? In Colorado, Pagosa Springs. Now, is that somebody that's normally around that just showed up in different... Pagosa Springs, where it's 36 and cloudy. Quick facts. Pagosa Springs is a town in southwest Colorado known for its hot springs. It's surrounded by the rugged San Juan Mountains and vast areas of national forest. So thanks for joining us, and a very interesting pictures of some of those national forest and or rocks. Boston, Mass will be coming up to you, no doubt. Hello to Fresno and Kerman. Woodland Park, Colorado. That's the station I'm thinking. You've got Pagosa Springs as well checking in with us tonight. Copenhagen is in. Doing good. Whether you're in Tambi or Seaborg or wherever, the Altitude Radio Network, Real Radio, is going in the dark. Did I mention my name is Dennis? They're saying that's not important. That's not on the cue card. Fairfax, Virginia, coming up to you. More Fresno. A lot of people listening online locally because they can't hear me. I'm such a, what do they call it in CB land, mud duck. And in the front row here, Van Man. He gets a special seat like the orchestra pit. And, of course, in Derby, New York. All right, I'm talking too much. We want to check in stations. Let's go to SWL 46.
How about you can check in number 30, Dennis?
Hey, I will check you in, 30. Hello, radio. You're beaconing in really, really nice. I thought maybe you were talking to Australia. Over.
No, that wasn't me, believe it or not. But, well, we'll take the radio checks where we can get them. Anyway, good evening. I just wanted to get number 10 and number 30 checked in.
All right, I'm going to have you take one more transmission. Hopefully it'll still be there, and I'm putting up the S meter. Take a transmission.
All right, we'll give it a shot there and see what we get. Anyway, you can tell which radio I got fired up tonight.
Sounds good. We got to check in for that one. And S4 on the meter, but sounding like S9. The 00, AKA 30 and 10 checking in live and direct from Idaho. It happens occasionally, and it's a great treat when it happens. Thanks for saying hello, radio. All right, and boy, he knows when to jump in, right in between the skip land. Nice sounding audio, by the way. Where are we in? We're in like 30 minutes into the first part of the SWL check-ins. If you're doing the audio replay, you want to see that replay or hear it again. Cool stuff. That's right. Thank you. And that wasn't in the script. That was a very unscripted thing that just happened. Let's go to SWL 47. And I've got a note from 47. The break OTR, go ahead through the skip, over. All right, 61, 61, 61, we've got you, over.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
All right, thanks for checking in. We got 61. Copenhagen Kid checking in, taking a break in the skip to get in there, and that's a good thing. Yeah, no, it gets quiet. And 47, I can't recall if he was going to try some remote check-in thing, but I have a feeling that the weather was bad enough where he shouldn't be able to do that. But we'll get Mike, if you're listening from wherever you are, we've got 47 checked in. Direct net roll call. The real radio operators coming up in a moment or two as we make our way through the 25 cycle at the beginning skip plan going on. SWL 48. SWL 48. Shortwave listener 49. What a treat to hear Dwayne and Chrissy. If anybody's listening, this is the Old Tube Radio Network. We are out of Central California. We are streaming live at oldtuberadio.net. There's a link to a current video going on, and we have been doing this net on Saturday evenings since the mid-1980s. And if you are so inclined and the skip hasn't faded out, stay tuned because you will be hearing some of the greatest and best of the tube radio classics from your 11-meter radio. Looking for SWL 50.
Oh, 33, that pilot's right, man. Easy, just like that, coming up. You do it to yourself. Mr. 33, the big mouth stepping right back. I'll see you again. Quick, quick.
Slowly, Andrew, small mouth.
SWL 51.
SWL 51 checking in. Have you got a grip?
Yeah, sounding good. 51-305 out of Sanger coming in through the skip. We've got you checked in, Dave. Over.
Check. Check.
Yeah, you three, that's what it's all about.
All right. I know. I mean, if we're hearing you that good, you know you've got to be giving 33 and the crew out there in New Zealand, Australia a run for their money. Stations out here in the Central Valley, not even trying. And Chrissy is doing the popcorn recipe tonight as advertised. So grab your pen and pencils. It will be on the chat link. So if you miss it, you should be able to go back to the video and get the popcorn. We'll find out what it is. If it's buttery, spicy. Anyway, it'll be perfect to munch on your next Old Tube Radio excursion. SWL 52 checked in live on the crossband. We got Aaron out of the mobile radio. Thanks, Aaron.
Safely, taking care. 83.
Wow. No wonder there's so many local stations trying to listen in because that is some loud stuff. SWL 53, Mr. Belair checked in earlier. Got to turn. I got to find page 3. You can't turn to it if you can't find it. We've got to check in for SWL 54, and let's go to SWL 55. SWL 56.
Good evening, Dennis and the net. 56, just for kicks.
All right, sounding good. And I'll check with you. I have a few of the big older eucalyptus and cedar trees around here, but they seem to be surviving pretty good. I haven't had a lot of branches or bad things falling off or anything falling over. So hopefully you can say likewise out there.
Well, I haven't seen any of the big deodoras go down with this storm, but the last storm we lost a pretty good-sized deodora about a block up the street from where I'm at.
Yeah, there's a lot of them where I'm at down on the Boulevard Strip, and some of them don't look too good. I mean, that was during the summer and before, so you know their root system is not great. Some of them look pretty good, so it all depends on how saturated the ground gets and what happens. So, good deal. You are sounding good, so no problem there. Thanks for checking in. The Old Tube Radio Network, Real Radio's Going in the Dark, direct and net roll call is where we are at out of Central California. oldtuberadio.net for some audio. There's a video link that is going on live and direct. So stay tuned for some radios that you might remember from the 1960s or the 1970s if you were around, maybe in the late 1950s. If you had one of those call letters that was a couple of numbers and a lot of letters before they went to like the 3 letters and 4 numbers. Some of the early 11-meter style calls. Let's go to SWL 57, Mr. Brown Dog Audio. 57 checking in, says all is good after the storms, lost power for 5 days. Holy cow. I don't like losing power for 5 minutes, 5 hours. I do have a UPS. I don't have a generator here, so if I lost power for any length of time, bad things would take place, or it would be not take place on the Old Tube Radio Network. So, man, I hope you were prepared for that. Lost power for 5 days, but here at BDA, we prepare for the apocalypse comes. So the generators kicked in, and they were the only beacon in the holler. Good deal. All right. Let's all be Let's all be like BDA when the power goes out. Good to hear, and you have given me the impetus to go to Costco and buy that generator I was looking at that was on sale, thinking, I could use this. 57 is checked in. Let's go to SWL 58.
33, Tuco 6 back.
SWL 59.
Braco TR.
Hey, the Braco TR. Hello, Tony. Over. I hear you, Tony. Over.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Yeah, it's getting a little rough and tough up here tonight. Kind of giving me a headache. I've waiting around while the skip for my number to be called. Can I get an early check-in, please?
Yeah, okay, early check-in, and that is the understatement of the year. It's giving me a headache. So thanks for being a trooper and standing in there. My schedule has changed. I should be able to get back on the Friday morning early risers net. I hope, and enjoy that as well. Thanks, Tony, for checking in, and we hear you down here in Fresno.
All right, thank you, Dennis. And early risers has been on Echolink lately. So if you're up and about around 7 a.m., go ahead and jump on Echolink and join us. We're on Echolink at 7 a.m. now since the repeater's down for a while.
Oh, yeah, with power and things like that. All right, well, that's right up my alley, and I just haven't been around, but I'll give it a try, and I know how to do the Echolink thing. So, all right, sounding good. We've got you checked in. Over.
You just pegged my meter, Dennis.
Man, look at that. Do we have the pipeline or what?
It sure do. I just wanted to let you know.
All right, you are sounding louder than the locals, and the Australian skip is going away. I hope, Harvey, are you listening? He's probably fallen asleep. He should take note of how to do DX right. Thanks.
Break.
The break, go ahead.
Good evening, Dennis, and I was hearing 24-2, wherever he's at. Good evening from the One Element, early check-in.
All right, early check-in on the One Element here on the Old Tube Radio Network, where we are... Where did I go? I think we're on page 4. I turned my page over when I saw 00 popping in again. Anyway, thanks for joining us. You can hear conditions are quite interesting, and I hear you well. We are doing the directed net roll call, SWL 59. I did not hear Uncle Hairball. Was he out at ORN tonight? If he is, I'll give him a check-in for that. Let's go to SWL 60. Hello, Joe.
Thank you much, Dennis. I hope we're making the trip to you. She's sizzling tonight, that skip. SWL 60, checking in.
All right, Joe, you're sounding good. Did you hear Dwayne coming in from Idaho a couple times tonight on that Browning, sounding doggone good, and likewise over there where you're at. We got you checked in.
Thank you much, Dennis.
SWL 61 checked in moments ago. Let's see if Mr. KD King Duckford, SWL 62. And I think looking at my noise level, I think the long haul skip just faded away. Just like that. SWL 63 got an X in the square for Better Bean out there in Northeast Georgia. Had a nice little chat with Hello Radio with Butterbean at ORN tonight. A lot of people out on the old radio night tonight. SWL 64. And Craig out there in Wisconsin was in earlier before we fired everything up. So I'll get Craig checked in. SWL 65. SWL 66. Got Bill up there in Canby, Oregon, still having some issues with the internet, but Bill, we hear you. Thanks for joining us. SWL 68. Didn't see Michael in New York. If you've checked in on the chat and I missed you, I do go back over it later on and make sure I get everybody in. Kenny, SWL 69 in Tulsa, who, if he hasn't checked in early, will be watching the video. Waving, Kenny, we miss you out here on the West Coast. Hope you're doing fine out there in Tulsa. I want to, let me do a quick hello radio to our station's Over on the video side now, it's quiet it down a little bit. See if I missed anybody. Say hello, who is in? Of course, Mr. OBP. Craig came in earlier. We just got you checked in from the coast of California. Neutral observation. Listening in. John Farrar's also in. OBP looking good. Kevin, we got to get you on the local airwaves. UDX 483, Mr. Mud Bucket and the Bucketeers joining us tonight. I see 21, of course, looking good. And Sean, you didn't need to check in via the chat. I heard you live and direct. Private Thor is in tonight. Thank you for joining us here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Foxman 362 out of Rockwood, Tennessee, where it's raining and 54 degrees. That's about what's been going on here. It's mid-50s, even 60 degrees. It's a warm rain, so it is melting. All that snow we got, and it's causing even more problems with the snow belt, with the extra water. So it's either all or nothing. Hans, let's see, working on FT8 on 80 meters. All right, and working, what is it? This is FT11. Hans working FT11 here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Night Owl, greetings from the classic city of Athens, Georgia. Indeed a classic. Richard, SWL 78. Let me check in Richard right now. Wild Wildemar. Where it is probably wild. All the things that are happening up here, I think, are happening down there. Maybe not as much. I think the storm is hitting Central California more so. But it's a warm storm coming in from Hawaii, like what do they call it, a Pineapple Express type of storm. Who else is in? Chrissy's doing the recipe. 007 Extreme CB, hello to you, checking in from the RV in Punta Gorda, out there in Florida. All right, well, I hope you're getting some good weather, and that RV is not shaking too much. 007 on the item of interest. There's Sam. 38. I did get you in, Sam. Of course, we couldn't hear you through all this skip, but you just never know. Who else is out there? Anybody? Alpha Kilo 295 joining us on the chat as well. Thanks, Alpha Kilo. And Chrissy Miller's still doing. Get that recipe. All right, let's go back to the roll call. SWL 70.
Hey, 635, 153.
Yeah, just when you think the skip land is no more, there it is again. SWL 71, where is Stan tonight?
Talking at the same time, I can't make anybody out. He's all take care, have a good night there. Cool change, and the boys on the...
Okay, looking for Stan. He is doing something important, so he will be back, I know. I'll get Stan checked in. Stan is a busy guy. And all the stuff he does. Appreciate it a lot. Talked to some of his friends out there near Dallas, Georgia, and say, he's a cool guy with the Radio Club. He's got to have Stan. All right, let's go to SWL 72. SWL 73. I will give John a check-in. I do believe I heard 73 in the crossband earlier, calling for a station. Also, we've got Miss Jilly, SWL 74, checked in. Let's try SWL 75. All right, and the skip is coming back in again. Let me try. We've got a couple of Echolink. Got a couple of Echolink contacts coming in. I know the delay is up. But SWL 22, who I thought we might hear on the long haul skip tonight, but it seems to be the short hop, which is up to Idaho, and the long hop, which is out to New Zealand. So let's see if Tyler is joining us tonight via the Echolink, KL5TW, KB6GFD.
Now, let's see if I got this thing right tonight. Hell, Dennis, yeah, conditions were pretty good today, and they just kind of fell out just as the OTR started up. So we were hoping to be able to check in the little Skipper 71 Bravo I've been working her hard lately, and she's been doing a good job for me. Hadn't let me down. Had some really good conditions out there, and from one corner of the US of A to the other. Back to you, Dennis.
Yeah, as you can hear, we're having some pretty decent conditions right now. I had a chance to go up and listen up on 10 a.m. Earlier today, and it was open as well. So again, we're going to have some good 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, 5 years of good conditions. Might not make it nice for the roll call for the locals, but as you heard, our not locals are doing quite well, and hopefully you are too. Tyler, thanks for joining us. The Echolink link is definitely working, and I've got you checked and hope all is well. KB6 GFD. All right, Tyler from Anchorage on the Echolink link tonight. I'm trying to find what page I was on. Back to the direct net roll call. I did get Wild Wildemar checked in. Let's try SWL 77. Somebody said put a proxy check in for Dennis, which I will. All right, I've got my camera back. We were looking at the S meter doesn't work too well when I'm on. I don't know what I monitor, but it's kind of not an exciting thing when I'm talking. Well, it's not an exciting thing when I'm talking anyway, but the S meter is not exciting at all tonight. Travis asking, do we have a pen tonight? That's a good question. Let me ask Chet. Do we have a pen tonight? Shaking his head. If I remember to put it on he said it's right here in the front. All right, so I can't miss it. So we will have a pen tonight. I don't know what it is, but when we start the tube radios, we will do that. Larry, SWL 75 checking in from a slightly flooded basement. Well, slightly flooded, the word flooded is not good, but slightly flooded is better than heavily flooded, which is what I might expect with all the rain and things we were getting. So 40, we've got you checked in. Let's go to SWL 79, Mr. DC. I didn't see him earlier. Sometimes he will check in earlier. Richard saying 56 degrees, no rain yet, but yesterday it came down in buckets in a wild, washed out Wildemar. All right, well, it's going to do that. We've got a couple more, what do they call it, atmospheric river. I've never heard that term before until a couple of years ago. Maybe we will get the floods. It would be like the 1880s again, where there's rivers and lakes all throughout the Central Valley that are all dry now. You never know. Who's coming in? SWL 80. And that means, does it mean? Yes, it does. Is shaking their head. It is time for Bob and Steve to tell us what is happening. I caught them off guard. The Mr. Announcer and the Jingle Singers are running back to the. They're running back to the ribbon microphonium. You guys ready? All right, they're ready. No, they're not. Are they ready now? All right, here we go.
27.085 OTR Channel 11.
Channel 11, the place to be on a Saturday evening, everywhere, not just in the Central Valley of California, or Channel 12 is, I think, where ORN hangs out. Although they were in 14 tonight, and we tried to listen down on Channel 1, but here we are on 27085, episode 158, the old tube radio. Bob and Steve, March 11th, 2023. Jingle Singers did it again. They went to garage sales and found, we need a drum roll for this. They found a GE3-5875, a Super Bass CB radio. I will have to see if we even have pictures of such GE radios. I don't think that they made a lot of, if they made any tube radios, but the 3-5875, some clock radio telephone. No image available on the other one. So anyway, we'll find that for you. All set up in the lounge. Okay, well, maybe that's why Charlie was out there working on the bulletin board. He had to help set up the radio. Ready to go. Looks brand new in the box. Never been opened. And plan on connecting it to the hex beam that's out there. I mistakenly was hanging my my shirts and socks on it, trying to get them to dry in our 50-degree weather. And they came over and tapped me on the shoulder. That's the hex beam. Don't do that. The Jingle Singers are having a St. Patrick's Day party in the Green Room coming up next week, right? We will have some Green radios checking in, I guarantee it. That'll be in the Green Room Lounge Friday from 6 to 11. Your green hat will be by the elevator. Bob and Steve will be serving green beer at the bar. Yeah, have a couple of those and take a look at your tongue. You'll know it's St. Paddy's Day. The police and firemen are planning a fish fry in a few weeks at the pavilion. Good. Get ready for that. Should be fun. And a reminder for those who are actually hearing me over the air through the skip, don't forget tonight is daylight savings time. You spring forward, you set your alarms to get up at 2 a.m., and then you set all your clocks ahead 3 hours, and then you go back to bed. And you've not only lost some sleep, but you've lost that hour where you had to set your clocks back. At the bar tonight, Grandma's old-fashioned apple cobbler with ice cream in a bowl. I like that already. They gave me some chicken soup. I wandered by, and they said, come back later, and we've got a surprise for you. There it is. I like that apple cobbler. Coffee and tea is on Bob and Steve. Oh, and wait, there's more. The Jingle Singers tomorrow morning, 8 to 11 a.m. will be having an OTR pancake breakfast at the pavilion with eggs your way, sausage, bacon, home fries, and toast. I will be there. I went to IHOP the first time in about 20 years a couple days ago. Had some pancakes, and I'm wanting pancakes, so that's good. Please join us. The Girl Scouts will be serving. That's tomorrow morning from 8 to 11. Join us. OTR T-shirts will be given out. And, of course, say it along with me. Don't forget to feed the fish.
27.085 OTR Channel 11.
Directed net roll call continues in a moment.
Maybe I'm asleep when I get long past midnight. But, yeah, a lot of people talking about it. 10-4 on the old buzzard transmission.
Well, you got that right. I bet it was fading in and out. I got a 3-minute timer on this radio, and I reset it. We were on page 4. You are still sounding good, Dwayne. What is going on? I've got my little Starduster here. I don't have one of those shockwave antennas or 05s. It's a Starduster that the plastic mounts are falling off of. Over.
The only thing I can figure is that'll be the truth. Tonight it's how you mean.
All right, and I know you're here in Australia up there. We are back to the directed net roll call. SWL 81 is checked in. How about SWL 82?
82 checking in from tornado country. Biola. 82.
Yeah, you were in the EAS report for the tornado watch today.
Yeah, I just got out of the storm cellar. Yeah, I just poked my head out. Everything was still here.
All right, you were down there with all the coax parts and the melons and the storm cellar. Well, I'm glad you're out. I think the storm has passed. I don't hear the static crashes, but we do hear Australia. Thanks for checking in. Sorry I missed Friday. My schedule has changed, so I should be back to Friday nights again.
Boy, quite a pile up there. Woo. All right, Dennis, 82 checking in, and thanks.
All right, and Dwayne, there's 82. Ron is the net control, the Ditchbanks sideband net, and you're probably hearing him 10 times better than me. So come on down to 36 lower Friday evenings at 8 p.m., and you'll probably be able to chat with Ron like you're chatting with the Ditchbanks sideband net on Fridays at 8 p.m. for your sideband pleasure. Looking for SWL 83. SWL 84. And I will get Air 84 Cheerios Kid checked in with the Mountain Maid, Tandy Girl, and the Snowy Owl, respectively, 84, 86, 87, and 88. Can you hear that? Can you hear the hot rod going behind me? I opened the windows up. There you go. That's what happens around here. I wonder, that is not the limo, is it? No, our limo drivers are safe. They don't do that kind of stuff. But it was so warm today, we're having this warm right now. Open up the windows, and that's what happens. Let's go to SWL 88. SWL 89. SWL 90. And SWL 91 out there in, where are you at? Bronx. Says, hi, Dennis. Hi to all the SWLs, OTR operators, and Felix. We are, at least here in Fresno proper, the big city, not much flooding. You'll have the water in at the corners. What's happening is we're having some big potholes show up in the roads. I mean, I had to severely avoid damaging my tires on these potholes that are showing up on the less than stellar street repatches that they did a couple of years ago. We have ponding basins, big scoops out in the earth that hold water, so that's doing pretty good. But like you said, Ron, out in the outskirts where they're having some tornado warnings, and some of the low-lying areas on the outskirts, San Joaquin, you can see that there's flooding. A lot of just water along the plains, so it makes it hard to drive. So, and we have had fires in the hills last year, so we're hoping we don't have any mudslides going on with that. But very, very warm storm, so no snow, but the snow is melting. So you've got to be careful of that. So thanks for checking in on that. Let's go to SWL 92. SWL 93. SWL 95. I was looking to see if I missed 95 on the chart. Let's try 96. Hello, Dennis.
Can you proxy in 95, please? Doing it too, man.
Yeah, let me do that. That's Warthog 95. Proxy 95. We're getting proxies from 1,000 miles away. Yeah, 95's in. How about SWL 97? And Jim is in. Don't need a proxy for Boston 97. Thank you, Jim. Looking good on my list here. Tracy's also in, SWL 98. I'm really thinking if we didn't have a lot of skip, Tracy, I would be able to start hearing you on AM, because I do hear you on the sideband net. Getting myself up to date here. Let's go to SWL 99. That's Radio Randy out of the Voodoo Audio crew. And let's try, because I think we can do this, albeit there might be a bit of delay. Let's try SWL 100 on the Echo link and see if Tony is out there, KB6GFD.
Good evening, Dennis. Please check in SWL 100, Tony. Back to net control, KD4BAO.
All right, Tony, you are sounding good, right on time. Or how does Motor Mouth Mall say it? Right here and right now, Tony has got the TOTA flag, the banner up, the tubes on the air, and we will be doing that shortly. Thanks for checking in, KB6GFD. And there is Sal, SWL 93. Did I miss you? I see you're on my list. Let me just pop it in again. I had a whole block of numbers that went wacky on me there, so I want to make sure that we got all of that. Also, let's see, we've got 100, SWL 103. SWL 109.
Good evening, Dennis. Crawdad 109 checking in.
All right, I don't know if you can hear me through the noise, but you are beaconing quite nicely, and always glad to have your station key up in the middle of Skipland, because all of a sudden they'll hear your voice. Well, what was that? All right, you're sounding good. Thanks, Crawdad.
Thank you.
Always have to have. We've got a couple of big stations, and 109 is one of them. When they key up, or is it key down? They're gonna throw the hammer down on whoever Australia is talking to, for sure. Let's go to shortwave listener 110. SWL 111. And I will get a check-in for Robert, who probably is on my list, but when the skip is like it is, he will sign in somewhere else. Also, I wanted to say hello, radio, to the land of Oz. Larry out there at the respectable radio desk listening in tonight from Iowa. Not sure if he's got the paddle ready to go, beaconing out da-da-da-da-da-da-dit in hopes that OTR will soon be there. But we will be. So keep on sending out that beacon, and we will try and live up to it. Thank you, Larry. Let's go to SWL 113. Shortwave listener 114.
114, checking in.
All right, you are definitely not in Berenda Slough tonight. Sounding good, although maybe with all the water it seems like it. Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you.
Over to my old tube radio net list, and I will refresh said item, but we will get to checked in tonight, as always, out from Fairfax, Virginia. John listening in, checking in about, maybe about an hour or so ago here to the old Tube Radio Network. Let's do SWL 131. Shortwave listener 133. SWL 135.
SWL 135, checking in.
Hey, sounding good. With the skip or no skip, and no doubt, I think you will have a radio for us. It is that time of the month for green radio, so we'll be standing by. SWL 145, you heard Tony moments ago from Course Gold, letting us know that the Early Risers Net is on, will be proceeding on Echolink until the repeater comes back up. SWL 147, checked in Tony a little bit ago, saying the conditions aren't too bad around those parts. Let's try SWL 188.
Good evening time, Dennis. Good evening time to all SWLs. 188 checking in.
Hey, Bobby, I don't even know if I would hear you if you were flat side and pointed, 245 degrees or 250, whatever it is you need to get out that way. But I hear you now. I know they're hearing you out there in Australia.
Yeah, I could hear. I had them in the radio pretty good earlier. I didn't make any contacts. I kept it looking towards the east side.
All right. Well, it's the gray line thing. Sounding good. We've got you checked in. Thanks for joining us on a Saturday evening. And cornbread. I was going to tell cornbread, don't go there. Let's see. Let's go to, thank you, Bobby. Let's go to SWL 195. Over. Probably noisy up in Course Gold. I will get the Starliner checked in. If you're listening, Jim, you've got the X in the square. Over. And 101, John, did I miss you? No, I'm sorry, it's 102. I may have skipped you over, so I'm bringing up the number right there. There it is on your screen. SW 102 +1. Oh, I see. You're doing my thing. That's why. Checking in. I like the reference I made earlier about Super Dave. Yeah, Evil Knievel's comic relief. No, that's true. We used to run Super Dave back when it was a syndicated show, and I would do overnight at the TV station. And I think it was on at 2 or 3. It was like the sign-off. We actually signed off back then. But they would have a separate log, and then there would be a space missing. And then if you were adding an hour, there would be another log. So you start at 2 o'clock, you went to 3 o'clock, and then you took out the next log book, and you start 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock again. It was really, really kind of strange. So you got to see, I don't remember what they did. They put on Oprah or something. All right, but Super Dave Osborne, I wonder if he ever, I bet he's a CB radio guy. SWL 226. And anybody else for a late check, or not a late check-in, but a check-in if I didn't hear you before, and we'll get to the radios here coming up.
Break on 11.
Yeah, 102 is definitely checked in. The break at 11, go ahead.
This is Butcher Robert checking in. I don't know if you called me or not, but I mean, you're sounding great today out here in Fresno, California.
All right. Well, I'm calling you now. You are sounding good. As you can hear, the band was open for the Skip, the DX coming in, but I hear you just fine here locally. Thanks for joining us. And we have the tube radios coming up in about 60 seconds, so stay tuned for that. And Boston 97, with assistance of 3 hits of window pane, he was able to count every visible red brick within 1 block in downtown. Lost count at 16,598,348. We'll update next week. And was it the bricks? And depending on they're like positioned a different way in the structure. That tells you if it was like a 1700 thing or a 1600 thing or an 1800 thing. So good for you. I lost track when I was counting bricks. And then you're walking on, not only are they in the buildings, but you're walking on bricks. There's just bricks all over when you go to Boston. All right, back in a moment to Tube Radio's coming up. This is your old Tube Radio Network. Thanks for joining us. All right, we might be ready.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
All right, CO Tube Radio Network. Hello, radio. My computer screen was doing some crazy things, so hopefully we are correct. We move a few things around. We will be correct because we will be checking in the Tube radios, the thing that we do best here on the Old Tube Radio Network, hence the name. Pitt is saying, he's doing this. That means pick up the pace. All right, so the first thing I have to do is our pen. If I don't break my microphonium, Zenith Radio Supply. No, it is compliments of Kay and Adolph. Thank you, Kay and Adolph. Radio Supply Company at 209 South Main, Livingston, Montana, and the 59047 area code, Zenith Dealer Sales and Service. Compliments of Kay and Adolph. This is a really cool kind of triangular, it's like that Toblerone. What is it? There it is, a triangular pen. Compliment, and it's big. It is going in the pocket protector. Look at that. It's like putting a cigar in there. It looks, does it work? I think these are all the real deal. They're like 50 years old. I'm going to scribble on the back of the, no, it's, I'm sure it has seen better days from the ink department. It says turn on the radio and get going. All right. Yeah, man, there we go. Turn on the radio and get going. This is the Old Tube Radio Network, and we are listening for Tube Radios. How's that?
135, 135.
This is Dirt Dog 982.
All right, 135, and who was the 982? Over.
Dirt Dog 982.
All right, I hear you on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks for joining us here. Over.
Thanks.
All right. I always love those sort of clandestine transmissions that just float in. That is the cool thing about radio. You never know what you're going to hear. It just comes into your speaker and out the speaker and floats around the room, and then it's gone. And you think, did I just hear what I thought I heard? But anyway, thanks for joining us on the Old Tube Radio Network. Stepping up into the air chair at a little bit after, 9:13, something like that. Mr. Green Arrow. Hello, Cliff.
Hello, Dennis.
And I bet you have a radio for us, and I will enter it into the radio number 1 spot here.
You would win that bet. How am I doing right now? Is this overblown at all?
No, it sounds good. I'm going to clear my screen. Audio sounds good. Skip is dying out. I hope we still have some players tonight. Sometimes, like they were saying, all that noise gives you a headache. But thanks for sticking around. Take a transmission, and you're beaconing across the universe.
Hello, universe. This is SWL 135, and I need to clear my throat. Checking in on the Robin T123 Bravo. This is a 12-tube radio. It has all 23 channels, no waiting. I seem to be just the teeniest bit high in frequency and not putting out very much power. But if you're hearing me, then it's working well enough. Let's see, what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, I'm not on the typical handheld Robin microphone. I'm on the Lafayette Range Boost microphone, which is essentially a Turner, like a plus 3B kind of microphone, turned up not quite halfway. Oh yes, which brings us to the point. Green. It's March. So yes, this is the second in a series of green radios I'm trying to get in here this month. Back to you.
Month for green radios as the tradition sort of made by you, I think, for green radios, although there are many. This is but one, the Robin T123B. And Chrissy has probably taken just a moment out of the popcorn recipe that is going on even as we speak up on the chat window to applaud the green radio. I have a photo. It may be from your collection. I don't know. I think it is. Because it's on channel 11 and the RX light is on and it's well lit and it goes quite well with your audio. The Panasonic, what is 23 Skidoo called it? The second generation Panasonic chassis. This one Robin. And they got just about every option to come out to the front panel. Sounds good. The audio is good. If you want to do some changes, you can go ahead with that, and we will try it out. But it sounds pretty good.
Okay, yeah, I'd actually like to compare this to the original handheld mic, which when I take this mobile, that's the one I have to use. It's just too hard to deal with desk mics in the car. But, okay, I'll go ahead and switch out microphones. Before that, I'd like to point out one thing I don't hear people talk about too much. Oh, yeah, and I'm sure if you've got the picture of mine up there, yeah, I don't know why they changed the name on it, but mine is, let's see, I guess the speaker would be most prominent in the picture, which was a stupid choice on my part. And you'll probably be able to see some of my trash on my radio desk. See, oh yeah, so I wanted to point out the squelch pulls out for tone, and it's the only push me pull you knob on this thing, and I don't hear people talk about it too much, but it does work. It changes the tone, but it does not, at least mine, does not change as you rotate it. It still acts as a squelch when it's pulled out. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and change mics here real quick, and I'll be right back.
All right, we've got a shot of the where it says pull tone on the squelch. Did an S meter so we can see sort of the forward movement, and did an Orban loudness meter, which I will go back to. And you were about right in the -20, -19. Everyone is listening for your frequency tone quality. Don't notice the off frequency at all with my bandwidth that I'm listening to. And we will go back to you to see if you have microphone number 2.
Okay, yeah, microphone number 2. Oh, yeah, and I also forgot to mention that the range expand has been on all this time, and I'm going to leave it that way because it's a finicky kind of switch, and you know how that goes. And, you know, my audio is just going to disappear anyway. But, yeah, this is the original handheld. In fact, again, if you have my picture, this mic should be in it. You should see the little swirly bird in the center piece, the meatball area, flying around in a circle in the picture. So how does this one compare to that one?
All right, just adjust the picture so we can see the microphone, which is right there. Nice. You know, this one might actually have a little bit more audio gain, according to the Orban meter, but the other one has a little bit more brightness, and so it's deceiving in the fact that although this one shows up that it's more gain, the other one to me sounded a little bit louder. But they're both very close, and that none of them have any bad tones or strange anomalies that would make me say, don't use that one. They're both good. Over.
Okay, yeah, I was actually hoping to get a bit more out of the other one. I should have turned it up. Like I say, I only had it not quite halfway, about 11:30 on the knob. And I'm holding this one good and close like you're supposed to hold plastic unamplified handheld mics. And I'm noticing, I'm getting a little bit more swing, and the modulation light, the little red one in the middle, is flashing a bit brighter and more continuously than it did with the other mic. So, yeah, how about that?
And that's what I'm showing here on the loudness meter. It's about a dB more in the loudness department, but the other one's a little bit brighter in the audio. So it depends on, I guess, what you're doing and where you are at. But doing a good job. Radio number 1. You can't go wrong. I mean, we always talk about the Johnson Messenger 223 for a first radio. If you can find one of these, it might even be better because it has a few more nice controls to it, and they were well built. I think they're AM modulation. They've got 11 tubes, by the way. 2 transistors, which I don't know if they stick out the back, but I think that's your conversion to do mobile, which you can do if you have the cord.
Yeah, back on the amplified mic now. I turned it up a bit. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, there's actually a perforated metal black housing that fits over the transistors in the back, and I guess to protect them. And yeah, as I understand it, they're only used for the when you hook it up DC, you know, for your mobile type configuration. Oh, here I must have done something wrong because the I don't know if that's making it over the mic, but yeah, the helicopter they found me, Dennis.
Yeah, well, I have the window open here. I was getting the hot rods with those strange mufflers they put on to make it even louder than it should be. So yeah, I do hear that. Yeah, your adjustment is perfect. You now have brought the gain up to match the, at least on the loudness control, to match the other microphone, but still sounds good. Over.
Okay. Does this add any different kinds of tone? You know, like did you say this one was sharper, had less lows, and the other the hand mic has more, or what?
The amplified microphone has a little bit more mid-range to it, which means it's got a little bit brighter, but sounds like you don't want to go too much more on the gain because it does start bringing up some of the not good low end. So I think you've got it just about right. And yes, indeed, I can hear the big bird behind you.
Yeah, he's flying in a circle. I can back off the mic a little bit and talk nice and normal instead of getting right up in it, you know, like that. But yeah, he's just to the south of me. He's going around. I'm out here, of course, in the usual spot in the CB Cabana, the hottest part north of Bakersfield. I don't know. And yeah, he's going around and around and around over here. He's evidently zeroed in on somebody. Anywho, happy St. Paddy's Day. I know next week is going to be the day after St. Paddy's Day, but I've got more green radios I'm going to check in next week, too, weather and authorities permitting.
Yeah, well, we got lucky that all the storms that came by were prior to the net here. And things are kind of calm now, although I think that's what's happening. Everybody's going out. Everybody was hiding, and so now they're going out, and the police copter has to find them. Radio number one, we're talking with Cliff here in Central California, city of Fresno, channel 11, 27085 on your old Tube Radio Network, and he's checking in honor of March and St. Paddy's Day, one big green radio, the Robin T 123 Bravo, manufactured from 1972 to 1976, when they couldn't manufacture it anymore because it was only a 23-channel radio, and they came out with the T240D, changed the color scheme, but still kept a quite nice radio. Thanks for bringing it by.
Yeah, and thanks for letting me check it in. See ya.
This is your old Tube Radio Network. Real radio's going in the dark. The jingle singers are ready to do what they do best. We are looking for a Radio 2 on in the midst of our Central California atmospheric river. Getting a little, as you can see, the plants outside. There's not much wind, not much going on. So come back out to your radio room, everybody, because it's safe to be here.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, for music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
The station for you is
OTR.
Your old Tube Radio Network. Christy, I don't know if you are near the radio at all or near the receiving device. What is the title, and that's not the right word, what is the name of the popcorn recipe? Does it have a name? Is it some type of St. Paddy's Day green popcorn or butter popcorn special? I tried to scroll up and see if you had actually given it a name, but I couldn't find it. So thank you, Hans. Hans is mentioning that your Robin T123B is looking good out there tonight, Cliff. So I would be curious to know what is the official title of our popcorn recipe tonight. OTR is listening, and we're looking for Radio 2.
Number 7.
Number 7 is loud. Over.
Well, hopefully not too loud. Checking in a Browning Mark III SSB.
Doing good. Let me clear the rigs and get to the Browning radio. Yeah, I think you did some work on that. It definitely has brought the audio. I mean, it's way up there. So it is a happy item of interest. Going to the Browning Laboratories Rolodex. There are many marks from which to choose, but only one will fit the bill for the radio on which you are tonight, and that's the Mark III SSB. And I've got a couple of pictures. Let's go to the one where they're stacked side by side. This is an advertisement, but I don't think that's quite correct. So we'll put up the photo, and we will go back to you for a transmission. Over.
20. Oh, there we go. Yep. I have mine also side by side, and yeah, like much better for the heat that way. Definitely like that much better. Also have the gold-plated Golden Eagle D104 attached, and nothing else.
Nothing else. All right. Well, you know what? Let me go. I've got a better shot because this one doesn't have the microphone and it has something else. So to get a little more true as to what is going on in the shack of SWL7. Oh, I will get you checked in. Speaking of SWL7, I will get you checked in on the other list. I guess I had you already proxied, so we'll put an X in the square. And there it is. There's the Browning BL Microphonium with the radio, Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. Top of the line, pretty much. If you had, what was it, $800, $700 or $800? 1972, 73, you decided not to buy that used Chevy Nova, and you bought a radio instead. This would be it. Over.
There you go. Yeah, definitely could not afford this radio when it came out. Heck, I wasn't even working then. So that would definitely put a little bit of a damper in things. But yes, now that I am able to, I definitely have the nice big radio. Takes almost 3 feet of space on the table, and of course the good old on the air light is telling me that it should be working. 20.
All right, and it is working. 20 acknowledged. We'll get to you in just a momento. I'm looking to make sure I've got the right picture. I do. Oh, you know what? Take another transmission. I'm going to bring the S meter up and see. I think you're normally around 20 on that one. Go ahead.
There we go. Well, let's see. Peaking just a hair over 20 watts. That's not too bad.
No, you're about S20, a little more, and lots of good forward move and up towards well past 25 over. So that radio is a happy radio, and that's the kind that we like to hear on the Old Tube Radio Network. Radio number 2 from Browning Laboratories, the Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. Thanks for bringing it by.
Oh, thanks for letting me check it in, and thanks to number 20 for bringing this poor thing back to life. It's been going for about 30 years, but he helped keep it on the air. And with that, I'll warm up another radio.
Oh yeah, I definitely can tell. The audio is nice and loud and good audio, and I think you've got a little bit more oomph in the carrier as well. I guess the thing to do is you can actually go back on the videos. They keep them up for way longer than I would, and you can give yourself a radio check and then give yourself a radio check. The Old Tube Radio Network, Real Radio is Going in the Dark. If you are watching the video, it is our net that we are doing live, at least at this time on the 11th of March 2023. The stations you are hearing are local stations, Tube Radio Collectors. We have been doing this since the mid-1980s on Saturday evening, not only to give the radio operators a chance to get out and drive the radio around the block, but to also recreate, to those of us who remember CB back in those days, but to those of you who don't, kind of, this is the way it sounded. Really, this kind of conversation and this kind of very lively chatter, if you will. The FCC might not have liked it all that much, and of course we're not using our call letters, which you were at that time supposed to do. But I think in the light of how we present our forum here with the radios, the FCC might give us their blessing. Now here's a guy that knows about the FCC. Hello, Harvey.
Oh, good evening. And I appreciate the reminder about knowing the FCC. Yes, I got to know them intimately. Okay, this is a Tram TR27E. This is Cliff's radio from last week that had a problem. It no longer has that problem, I hope. And let me see about frequency. I'm at around 085.1 or 2, so at least that's what the frequency meter shows. Sorry for coughing. Okay, an amplified D104. This was a G stand turned into a UG8 stand, but the person put the preamp in it, battery holder, the whole 9 yards, but did not change the relay in the neck, so they put an on-off switch right in the middle of the bass, which is kind of fun, because if you're talking like this and you turn it off, this is what happens. Oh, it's not doing it. Oh. Sometimes it makes a funny noise. Let me see. Now, it's not doing it right now. Anyway, it's all been just about all retubed and recapped. A bunch of resistors changed. This was a fairly well-used radio. So I had to change a couple of parts that are out of tolerance. But I wanted to give it a good long key down to see what you think of the audio.
I think the audio is good. It has a good audio flavor. What does the net control mean by that? Whatever microphone you're using and the radio itself sounds a lot like you. Doesn't have too much bass or too much mid-range, and it's loud and punchy. It's a very good Tram TR27E, and if I remember from last week, it definitely is sounding more lively than it did last week. And Foxman 362 agreeing, says audio sounds super. The Green Monster audio is definitely up from last week, according to Jim out in Boston. So methinks, and along with the rest of the shortwave listeners, that by golly, you've done it again. Over.
Roger. Let's see. Yeah, I get a kind of a pingy thing, I think. I don't know. Let me check. I'm going to check, see if I can hear this thing.
What is he doing to that poor radio?
The while talking ping. There you go. Fortunately, I'm able to get this going. I'm waiting on, or more going. Cliff did a good job on getting it initially going. I believe I'm waiting for just one tube, and then to improve on the one that's in there a bit. And then it's all set. It's got super receive. Very, very sensitive. A good equal to my Browning. Possibly a dinky bit better. Ooh, my Browning just frowned at me. Anyway, it's really got a good sensitive receive. I got to give it to them for that. Okay, I'll turn it back to you, and I'll be listening for a bit.
All right, to Radio 3. Radio 2 is Browning, the Tram TR27E. This is from 1963, by the way. This is not a 1970s radio. This is early 60s radios before the trams that we kind of all know, the Tram Titan and the Titan 2A and the D201. This is their early on. So you are using, just before you go, you're using the variable tuning for the receive, although I guess you could use a crystal. I don't know if you're using a crystal for channel 11. And if the S meter is working, could you give me a signal report? Over.
Okay, well, the radio, because of my crap bench, was sideways. I need to mention that. I don't know if Cliff mentioned that the S meter was really funky. Yeah, this was. It took me a while to figure out what the problem was, and then dawned on me, and I fixed that. So the S meter's good. Okay, go ahead and key up.
All right, so checking, and this is one of the cooler S meters where it goes up to 60 over. It's big, like an S meter you might see on an old Hallicraft or shortwave receiver, something like that, where you just stare as you're listening to your shortwave station. Just stare at the meter like you're watching television. Did a quick frequency check, 27085, 1.5, maybe like 150, 200. So you're not that far off frequently at all. Over.
Okay, I got a quick text. So I missed that. What was the frequency?
27085.1, 1.5, 150, maybe 150 high, 200. Anyway, it sounds good. When I zero beat, I can still hear you just fine. Over.
Got 1.
Roger.
1.5.
Oh, look at this.
150 high.
That's you.
200. Anyway, it sounds good. When I zero beat.
Uh-oh. Let me lower this. That message on the phone was somehow the old tube radio network coming on. And I didn't ask the phone to do that. It just did it. And when I pushed on it, you came in loud and clear. That was great. Okay, 51 and a half, maybe 2. That's exactly what my digital nice LCD handheld portable frequency counter says or shows. So that's good. And I'll check with Cliff to see if he wants me to lower it a hair. But anyway, yeah, this is a nice radio. You were giving me about a 12 swinging forward, and I did have to play with the S meter a little bit and the receive a little bit to get everything to where I kind of think it should be. Skip slams this meter at about 55 over when the real strong stations are on. And when it's just average skip, it's around 10, 15 or so. And you're giving me about a 12. And when the skip was in earlier, you were just over the skip.
Yeah, that skip was pretty voracious. And then I don't know if you heard Dwayne come in on the Browning. I had a Mark that he's on his, I think he's got a Mark II. I don't know what he's got. But I'm going to add that to the list. And he came in a couple of times. I mean, that S9. I mean, that's where you're at right now. So I don't know if you heard that or not. But yeah, I thought maybe it announced me when I first came on. So maybe you pressed the right button. That was strange hearing my replay. All right, it's doing good. The Tram TR27E. I've got the full page ad, which if anybody's watching the video, I'm scrolling down. It gives you a tip on how to tune the receiver, which you mentioned was a really nice receiver, talking about tuning the 31.5 megacycle first conversion oscillator. Tram from Winnisquam, if I say that right, you can tell I'm not from New Hampshire. Winnisquam, New Hampshire, 032, back in the 0 area code, 03289, I think, Electronics Incorporated with a 603 area code. And it's, did Tram give sometimes they had a warranty. Receiver gives the selectivity, S meter, new D'Arsonval, moving coil type with illuminated panoramic scale, accurately calibrated to 60 dB over S9. So hopefully the light's still working on that. And the cabinet with its extra durable wrinkle finish. So I agree with you. Pretty decent radio for 1973. And doggone it, As one of our operators would say, is that true? Is that 60 years ago? Over?
Yeah. Yeah, basically it is. I'm looking at the stream right now where you've got it up, but I've got the volume down. Yeah, 1963, October. CB Horizons Magazine, page 33. For all of you out there that have your complete editions of CB Horizons, go to October 63, page 33. Anyway, oh yeah. Oh, this is interesting. The stream on my phone is about 7-8 or so seconds behind this live transmission setup we've got here. So if I keep the stream up where I hear it, it's as annoying as ever, a 7-second delay in my ear from after what you say over the air.
Well, this is the annoying as ever frequency, so you have come to the right spot. Tram TR27E, a little bit of a not a makeover, but a little peek and tweak, sounding really good. Nice audio. You are getting nothing but good compliments on the audio. A lot of people saying it is definitely better than last week. And so, someone asked, when did you actually start? And it may not be a thing you can say, well, I just sat down on this date, or just something I started tinkering with. But I know in a past life, you were at the television repair facility. So when was it that you actually started working on electronics for, for fun or profit or neither?
Well, for fun, I believe it was late September of 1963.
Wait, really? So when this radio was first out?
Yeah, basically September of 63, and I started tinkering with stuff, and in, what was it, 60, let me think here, let's see, 65, sophomore in high school, they offered electronics class, so I took it, and from there, but I started tinkering when I was around 13, and anyway, from there, the TV shop was when I moved here back in the late 70s, and I met the guy in the early, I think, 80s or so, and I just started hanging out there because my business office was right behind the TV repair shop. So when my day was done, and sometimes it was done early, I'd go over there. And he knew I kind of knew a little bit, so he said, hey, can you change that part there? You know how to solder? And I go, yeah. And that was it. I started helping out there, learned some repair, learned some other stuff from him. Learned a lot from Bill, Red Monkey, and Larry over at the shop, and others. So there you go. But basically, way back when, 63.
All right. So you know of what you speak, and these radios are as though they were brand new, because they were back in 1963. Sounds good. Appreciate the work. And Jim out there in Boston, he's had better memory than I do, much better. Jim, you should be out here with us in the crew. That has, we had discussed last week about it had a special chrome style case. Speaking of cases, is that still the case? Over.
Actually, what I did was I took the wrinkled gray finish off of my 27E, put it on this one, and I'm going to keep In other words, steal the chrome one. No, the chrome one's right here on the floor, kinda, and it's in pretty decent shape considering if the guy chromed it back in the 60s. So, yeah, it's got the chrome case. Cliff's pretty lucky. Not often do you see those.
Yeah, definitely was a custom thing, as we found out. So, good stuff. I'll have to get another picture of the tram. I'm showing Ed's right now. It's got this extra special switch in it, but a big radio. Probably nice and easy to work on because there's plenty of space, and that should be I'm sure that's a point-to-point wiring. So I don't know if there was some special thing, that one aha moment that you found for working on it, but the audio is really, really good. Lots of thumbs up from our listeners. Oh, and Chrissy, thank you for two things. One, for it's called homemade popcorn, right? What else? What else could it be called? The homemade popcorn recipe. And thank you. I've got the Mark III from Dwayne. We'll put Dwayne's as Radio 4, although he was indeed our first radio tonight. All right, Harvey, back to you. Sounding good. Thanks for taking a transmission or two. And we will be happy to get yet another green radio, and it'll be returned to its rightful owner, and we will hear it yet again.
Roger. Okay. One thing I should mention, the weak audio, one was a tube, and the other was the fact that this D104 preamp had an almost dead electrolytic cap in it. There's only one cap. When you look at the UG8 preamp, it's in the upper left corner or side, upside down, you know, on the board. But I checked it because I thought that might be the problem, and it was almost dead. So I replaced it, and here it is. The audio is good. So for those who think they've got a totally trashed preamp that either barely works or doesn't work really at all, it's probably either one or two of the transistors that are on the board, usually not, but that cap does go. And when it does, you get weaky audio. So anyway, I replaced that and automatically got really good audio from the mic. Then I did the tube and got better, a little bit of retuning, and there we are. Okay, thank you very much, Dennis, and we'll be up.
All right, I always appreciate your work for keeping these radios on the air to share not only with our local operators, but everyone that may join us or may not on oldtuberadio.net and the video stream as well. According to who just came in the door up there in the balcony, Redlands, California. I was out your way not too long ago. Hopefully the wind is not too bad up there right now. And Logan, Ohio, joining us here on the Old Tube Radio Network on our Saturday evening net that we've been doing since the mid-1980s. Just have added some video and audio with it. But basically what you see and or hear is what we've been doing for 37 years. Just getting out and having a good time and talking about the tube radios and helping those out to make that have them to make them sound better, and encourage those that do have them to at least get them on the air once a week. The Old Tube Radio Network, we're looking for Radio 5. They say the jingle singers are ready to tell us all about what it is that we do here. Back in a few moments.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, the friendliest station for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
The station for you is
OTR.
The station for you and you. Hello to Robert. I will get 111 officially checked in. Probably had a proxy check-in for you because, as you know, when you were out there, the skip was pretty hot and heavy, but it is not so much now. We had there's the good skip and the bad skip. We had some good skip in there tonight. Also, hello to Eric D. Thanks for joining us on the Old Tube Radio Network, and we're standing by for more radio check-ins.
Number 7.
Number 7, I'm going to guess what radio you might be on, but I could be wrong, so go ahead.
Well, it could be very similar to the last one that was on, a Tram TR27E.
And that's what I was thinking. Did I close the Rolodex? I closed the Rolodex because now here's a treat for our listeners. We heard the redo, REDUX, of the Tram TR27E that we heard last week from Mr. Green Arrow, and it sounded pretty good. But the photo that we're seeing and that we've been showing with that radio is the one I'll bring up again, the nice green machine. And the radio you are about to hear is the one in the photo, owned by this gentleman here. Go ahead.
There you go, the big green machine, and with the Electro Voice 638 microphone attached.
All right, doing a good job, sounding good. The Electro Voice EV638 sounding like the Tram should sound. We didn't talk about the radio per se too much. I will get a close-up for those that are looking at the video for this CB two-way radio, which it says right on the front. There is a switch where you can X, so that's your crystal controlled receive, so it allows you to do a crystal control one channel on the receive, although it is a variable tuning receive. The other thing is the modulation light. So I guess that's blinking, right, for you? It should be on that Electro Voice microphone.
Yes, the little winking and blinking light, it does peak on the peaks there. This one's pretty close to what the Browning's doing, and it's pretty close to 20 watts on the peak.
Oh, yeah. All right. Now that you mentioned that, let me go to the S-meter only cam and take another quick transmission.
There we are, peaking. That should be pretty close to where the other one was. Maybe, anyway. It should be real close.
Yeah, I think you're like 2 dB. Is that what? Yeah, because this is right on the line at 20, unmodulated. I think the other radio was about 22, and this has the forward swing. Maybe not quite as much as the Browning, but like I say, that Browning you've got now, it has definitely got more audio than it used to. So yeah, were you to cheat a bit and put probably a preamplified microphonium on this Tram, I'm sure it would be pushing up there as well. It is the month of March when, if one tunes into the old Tube Radio Network, one might notice a proliferance, is that the right word, of green radios for St. Paddy's Day, and tonight is no exception. Thanks for radio number 5. Back to you for transmission.
There you go, keeping with the swing of things and definitely having the green radio in there. With that, we'll let you get some more radios and hopefully maybe some more green ones.
Right, something to enjoy your homemade popcorn by, the old Tube Radio Network. Indeed, Chrissy says you've helped make her night. She gave us a nice homemade popcorn recipe, and we're enjoying that, and she's enjoying the second of the big green radios tonight. Actually, the third, because we got the Robin T123B at the top of the program. So it is a green thing. We got some time, not counting and amounting quite yet. So if you have a radio to check in, we are listening for you. Or if you missed your SWL check-in due to the skip, come on by. And you can hear a little bit, I've got the squelch open to hear the static, and occasionally you can hear the... So we still have a little bit of electrostatic activity up in the sky, but not like it was this afternoon.
May I check this in?
Yes, indeed. Your old Tube Radio Network at your service, over.
Roger. The old favorite, Browning Golden Eagle, R68 T68 by Browning Laboratories. And this is the Golden Beagle. Custom D104. It's got the medallion for Browning Laboratories on the back of it. Anyway, the one I usually check in, it's one of my favorites. It's my actual, I think, second Browning. My Mark III was the first one. This was the second one.
Yeah, I've got to get my first tube radio was the Regency Imperial that I worked long and hard hours back in high school to pick that thing up. So got a photo of the Browning Eagle, the Golden Eagle by Browning. This is before they called it a Mark anything. This is the first one with the golden in front of the Eagle, the R27S23 that preceded it back in 64, 65. They did some extra stuff, came out with the Golden Eagle. This didn't have much more of a 12 to 16 month run before they went to the Mark II, but it definitely kept the Browning tradition sounding good.
Roger. I can't remember if it's Series 1 or 2. This is the one with the on-air light and the 3-position switch for the RF gain. Distance, normal, local, and it says AGC control. The other one has a spotlight on the transmitter, no on-air light, and it has an RF gain variable control on the receiver. I think that's how they paired them, because almost all the time you see the on-air light and the 3-position switch, transmitter and receiver paired together, and then the spot and the RF gain control paired together. But every once in a while I see them mix and a match, but not very often. But so they had 2 runs of these things. Very interesting. And then they went to the Mark II.
And the rest, as they say, is possibly history. The production run 1967 to 68, still showing a price of around $400. I think the way the U.S. economy was going, this is like the last, 67, 68 was the last part before there was inflation starting to happen. The overseas imports were starting to come in that were affecting the prices and how much things cost. So maybe one of the last really affordable Brownings for your pocketbook back in that time at around $400 in 67 and 68. As you are out shopping for your Mustang or your Camaro or what was the Firebird or who was the Mopar, the Barracuda or the Dodge Dart or the Challenge. And they didn't have the Challenge yet, but they did have the 68. I think 67 is first year of the Dodge Charger, and then with the money left over, you went out and got the that $400 left over that you saved on the deal you got. You went and picked up your Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68. Always sounds good. I like the way you run it. Yeah, you can really push the Brownings so that they're screaming, but they can do a nice little rag chew chat. You can keep the ping so it's not intensely long, and nobody will ever complain about that. Thanks for bringing it by.
Yeah, and you can shorten it by just turning down the volume after you key up. Anyway, yeah, I like this one. This has been daily driver for many years, and I picked it up with this mic and a 180 that matches it. It's sitting above the radio on the top shelf, and the only problem with all of this was a cracked tube in the 180, and maybe I had to replace a few tubes in the radio, but nothing was really broken. retuning, recapping, the usual stuff, but nothing major. This was a real good steal. Okay, I'll let you go, and that should be it for me. I'm not going to check in anything else. Why? Because I'm tired.
You and me both. It's been a long month here, but you know, you never, both of us can say this, you're never too tired to jump on the old tube radio network. And who was it? Was it Foxman? Who was talking about the paraphernalia for Eric? The Browning paraphernalia, which they had quite a few of, and I've seen the matchbooks before. Everyone's talking about that. They have the here's the Browning Eagle Club membership button, although it has its own. I guess it's got a little stand on, which is pretty cool. I have somewhere, and that's not to be confused with the old Radio Night official. I've got my old Radio Night 21 button, but they also had, and there may be more things. They had a coffee cup, which I've had here before. I don't keep it out here because I want to break it. But to go with your Browning Eagle. Radio number, did I check this in? Yeah, it's radio number 6. And Larry's saying the first 11-meter tube radio was the Tempo 1 from Henry Radio. Down there in LA. I've been there many times. And sort of the precursor to the Tempo 2020, the Tempo 1, the Yaesu FT 101, kind of the same thing, I think. Where you had, you put in the crystals so you could jump into 11 meters on the 10-meter side, and you had to fit with the AM a little bit to sounding good. The 101 sounded good on AM. I can't remember the tempo. You had to do a little bit of carrier insertion. So anyway, we're digressing here. I'm counting and amounting. Any other stations wanting to check in? Thanks, Harvey. Looking good. O2 Radio standing by.
Yeah, 47, please.
All right. Let me, I'm doing some adjusting here on my, if I can figure out what, I can't figure, it comes down to that. I can't figure out what button to click. And now I can. Go ahead, sir.
I've spent hours and hours and hours today doing the exact same thing, trying to figure out which button to press, which piece of technology to use. I can't believe it's 10:05. At night, and I'm mostly done, not done, but mostly done with a final project that for a class I'm taking, not instructing it, but I'm taking. It's a Saturday night. I'm still doing homework. This is disgusting, but I took a break in this last heat of battle in this class I'm taking. I took a break to, first of all, say hello. I was not around for roll call. It's SWO47 from the Radio Lounge. And also to please, if you don't mind, check in my Robin T123, which is nice to use right now because it's super duper late, and I don't feel like screaming and waking everyone else up.
You don't want to do that. If you might wake up somebody in Poughkeepsie if they turn up the volume at the video or oldtuberadio.net, because you do have some great audio. Found the Rolodex of the Robin T123. We've had a 123B. The 123 also appears to fit the bill for possibly green radios in the month of March. And we'll put it up there, and you are making the magic iTube do what it's supposed to do. Got you checked in on the SWL side. Oh, and I had a comment. There was some prior discussion about Morro Rock, and I was able to run at the top of the rock. After you slog your way up the carved out steps, at the top of the rock I was able to do direct contacts on a 0.5 watt FM back into Fresno, and I can't remember if the people had a beam or not, but probably an outdoor antenna for FM 2-meter stuff at a 0.5 watt. So you never know what might happen on 11 meters. But I can't imagine bringing a tube radio and whatever it would need to run it up to the top of that rock. It was hard enough just carrying that HT over.
No, and I didn't know you want to go there tonight, and I do need to make this short because I got to go finish this stuff up. I'm all for this. I have no problem lugging a large vacuum tube radio up on that rock. I don't know if I need an amp of some sort. Maybe I shouldn't say that live on the air here. I don't know if a directional antenna would help me out, but I'm definitely interested in trying.
Yeah, that's 15 pounds. Yeah, we won't take too much time here. I mean, it's hard enough just getting up the rock, lugging yourself, and you'd still have to have, let's say you run off of 12 volts, you have to have some type of a motorcycle battery or something to get the thing up and running. And you might be able to do it. And I don't know how the radio, you'd probably have to test it locally to see if you could actually put a telescopic antenna out of the back, if the SWR would handle like a walkie-talkie would, where you'd have an SO239 style screw-in telescopic antenna, because that would be not too much, and then you'd have to be off to the side. There are a couple places you go down the top of the rock off to the side, and it looks out. It's out toward the valley, and I think you can stand off to the side and not be in the way. So I don't know. That's a very interesting endeavor, but there may be a safer way to do it. I don't know. We'll talk more. It is interesting. It would be a first. I've done it on 2 meters before, but certainly not on 11. Unless you brought the Christmas Tree Lane special portable, and that would probably work. But I know what you're thinking. It's not the same, not as much fun for us. For you, I don't know. All right, back to you for transmission. You are Radio 7 with the Robin T123. Over.
Okay. I actually. This is fun, man. You're jarring memories. I literally haven't thought about since last summer. I did go up on that rock with two HTs. The 2 meter one obviously worked out great. That was super fun. The 11 meter, the TRC 217, that didn't work. You couldn't hear me on the top of the rock with that thing. I don't remember how well I could receive you on 11 meters, although I'm sure that my transmit would probably function just about the same, but I don't recall being able to hear much of anything on 11 meters when I was up on top there. Again, 2 meters worked. When I came down off the rock, I think I had I don't remember how many. It wasn't miles. I don't think it was miles. There was a hike from the bottom of the rock to where the Giant Forest Museum is. That's where I had to park because of road closures and fire damage and all sorts of stuff. But anyways, on the hike back from the bottom of the rock, this might be TMI or too much information. On the hike from the bottom of the rock down to that visitor center, I heard you just fine on 11 meters. So maybe something there would work, but I don't know. I think I don't know the bottom. I don't know why it didn't work out on top of the rock. I'd love to construct a directional 11 meter antenna. I'd really like to try that out, but that's maybe a topic for some other time.
All right, and I think the top of the rock actually looks out more towards the south and the west. I had a picture. I was going to send you the picture of me with the HT, and I know I'm back down a little bit off to a corner where it's shooting out over the valley. So yeah, tonight would have been, let's say it was tonight, and during the summer we're going to have more skip. It's going to be brighter, so it could be a challenge just being heard, even if you were on the walkie-talkie outside the window back here because of the way the skip was. All right, got your radio checked in. It is that time of year once again, so hopefully you will conquer the beast there, get everything done, and then, of course, it'll start all over again. Over.
That's the joy of this hobby. There's never a finish line to cross. There's always something more to reach for. So, anyways, well, there it is. Thanks for letting me check this Robin in, and it's great to hear you. And stay out of trouble in 73 from the Radio Lounge. This is SWL 47.
All right, thanks for stopping by. Still, I really enjoy the low noise levels here, and I never know what makes noise come on. Speaking of noise, I agree. Chad is saying that is a bad segue. Speaking of noise, here are the jingle singers, and we'll be doing some counting and amounting shortly.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us
Old Tube Radio.
and be modern.
Modern as you can be, and I wanted to, I wasn't making a comment. It was Jim. What he was asking about, what were you asking about? T1, where did it go? T1, did I see that right? T1 AM operation? Is that no, that's like AJ3. So what is T1? What is T1 AM operation? Oh, do I have info? I don't even, maybe I'm not, my brain at this hour is not thinking what that would be. What mode that would be. All right, well, that will be for a later date. Maybe that's what we're doing without knowing it. What is the classification for AM? Is it AJ, F3E, AJ3? I don't know. Oh, tempo. All right. I'm thinking, what is T1? Yeah, the tempo 1 AM. I know the 101 because I got one back here. And I remember talking to people on the tempo on AM, and I thought it had AM, but I didn't know if it had a carrier insertion like the Siltronics did, where it was a little bit persnickety. But it was more like the 2020 or the 101. It should be fairly simple. You just gotta make sure you don't run your, not the carrier level, but your current level up above. They got a green line, but basically it comes down to resting carrier at 25. And I always thought that was too much. You take it down about 12.5. Then you got plenty of headroom. So most of the guys would crank that carrier up, and then you flatten the tubes out real quick. But 100-watt radio, maximum 25-watt dead key. I think it was always better at about 12.5, and get yourself some decent audio.
Hey, Dennis?
This is the basic Dennis, over.
Okay, you stood on top of Morro Rock, 2 meters back to Fresno area?
That is correct. I had my, and I don't know what HT it was. I have to look at the picture. I don't know if it was a Bofang or it was like a Yates. I think I made it at 0.5 watt, but I probably had it at the 5-watt level. But I remember talking to the station, and he could hear me on 0.5 watt. He may have had a beam. It was a while back, it's probably 15 years ago. He may have had a beam pointed this way, but yes, up at the top of the rock, over.
Simplex?
Simplex on the frequency, yes.
Ouch. Because that's shooting northeast over the hills, and Morro Rock's not that high.
Yeah, like I was telling Mike, I remember I had to walk off the peak. You go up to the peak and they've got the barriers around there with all the, if lightning happens, get out of here. I walked back down, or however you do it, and knowing the direction, it was part of the rock, and there's a place you could stand and not be in the steps, where it was facing, even though you might not be able to see it, but it was facing the right direction towards Fresno, because the rock is more in Visalia, so this was a part of it where I was, behind me was the rocks, but I was shooting the other ways. But it happened. I've got pictures of me holding the HT.
All right, because Morro Bay, if you look north, south, east, west, is almost directly west of Bakersfield, and you're shooting northeast to Fresno. There's just one range you got to go over, and then it's pretty much all valid. Well, a second smaller range along I-5, because I remember Bill says there's a 2-meter repeater in, where is it? San Luis Obispo, Paso Robles, somewhere around there. And every once in a while in the valley, I can hit that.
Okay, I see your surprise now, and I know some of the stations aren't local. Yes, I would be very surprised if indeed I was making a trip from Morro, M-O-R-R-O Rock, which is on the Pacific coast, to anywhere in the Central Valley, because as you mentioned, there's a giant hill in the way. That's why it's hard to make it on the repeater. But what Michael and I were discussing was Morro, M-O-R-O Rock, which is up near Sequoia National Park, overlooking the valley that you can actually climb. I don't think you can climb on Morro Rock. You'd have to swim out to it, and then fight a penguin or a seagull or something to get on the rock, and then you might not want to actually get on the rock. So yes, this was M-O-R-O Rock, which is near Visalia, up near Sequoia National Park. Over.
I feel better because I wanted to buy the HT that you have.
Right, and I know the repeater you're talking. I think it's Questa grade. When Jim, number one, was staying at his mom's place for recuperation in Paso Robles, we used to be able to hit that repeater. In fact, we set him up with an HT in the house with one of those J poles, and we could get him to hit the repeater, and then I'd have to use my beam here, and we could talk to him out at Paso Robles. But like you said, you had to be in the right spot to hit that Questa Peak repeater, and you could hit it here from Fresno, but you had to have a beam pointing that way. All right, I got to count an amount and do our thing, and we will get out of here. Over.
Yeah, I feel a lot better now. I looked at Morro Rocks in Morro Bay, and if you climb that, holy cow. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I don't. Once you kind of boated out or swam out to it, I don't think you would want to. with all the seagulls, you might not want to even touch the rock. All right, I will say. Well, one last call here for any stations or check-ins. Over. And then what will I do? I will say, oh, now it's time for, as they used to say, totals. We'll do the thing, and we will get out of here.
This is the Old Tube Radio Network. Ladies and gentlemen, stand by. It's time now for the current OTR totals.
All right, the current and final OTR totals, and I have a list here of lists. Thanks, everybody that participated tonight. Always, as we have been doing for ever so long, enjoy hearing the radios and getting information and learning all this stuff. And 7 radios tonight. We had 75 SWLs that we know about on the list. But you don't have to be on the list, right? You don't have to be on the list. 20 on page 1, 17 on page 2, 15 on page 3, 23 on page 4 for a total of 75. We are in week 5. Week 5 out of the 8-week roster. It's really cool to hear, and thanks, Chrissy, for the homemade popcorn recipe. It was really cool to hear Dwayne. Did you miss it, Harvey? It was really cool to hear Dwayne coming in, not once, not twice, but at least 3 times. I'm going to go back. I always go back on the replay. I even got the S meter, I think. And just coming in like he was louder than the locals, louder than the skip from Hawaii, saying, hey, can I check in now? I love the way he does that. Radios tonight, the most heard manufacturer, the Brownings, followed by the Robins. It was a green radio thing, the Robin T123. D, starting it off from Mr. Green Arrow. Mr. Ed on the Browning Laboratories Mark III SSB in its not new configuration, just beefed up a little bit, sounding good. Radio number 2, Harvey was on the Tram TR27E. Now they're beefed up a little bit. Good reports all around. Any radio that says that gives me a good S meter reading and the operator says I sound good, I like it already. So get the Tram back to its rightful owner, and we'll hear more of it. Browning Golden Eagle Mark III. Oh, I put Dwayne. Dwayne, you put the Brownings over the top with your check-in tonight. I got you as Radio 4, but you were radio number 1. The Tram TR27E, that one from SWL7 with the electro voice microphonium sounding good. Harvey on his Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68. I'm sorry, the Browning Golden Beagle. And you heard moments ago, Mike on the Robin T123 prior to the 1972 version of the Robin radios. All right, I think that is it for me. Again, thanks to those listening. Had a couple of Echolink contacts, had some crossband contacts. A lot of you listening in from wherever you are, staying up super late. Early. Oh yeah, don't forget. He's pointing. He's doing this. Don't forget to set your clocks forward. Spring forward. Fall back. Spring forward. 1 hour. Officially at 2 a.m. or whenever you notice. Hopefully before it's too late. That you need to go in and change all those clocks yet again. If you are in this area that does that, California does. Although we're supposed to be leaving it. Federally, I think they're supposed to be leaving it alone, but I don't know when we're gonna start doing that. So 73 to all of you. And Eric, who back in 1968, I used to listen to the Electric Chickens. I had an 8-track tape in my Buick Riviera. So Eric, I will have to send you one of those Electric Chicken 8 tracks so you can sign it for me. You can autograph it for it. Good stuff. Good night, everybody, from your Old Tube Radio Network.
Good night, Dennis.
And you know what? I don't have to go get Ovaltine because let me reach here. They brought it to me tonight with ice in it to keep it cold, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, your Ovaltine way back when I was Nestle's.
Well, actually, I was Nestle's. My grandparents had Ovaltine, and it was the old Ovaltine. Before, Ovaltine has been sold to about 2 different companies, but it was like the Ovaltine company, and it was in the glass jars, and it was. And I'm sure they changed the formula because you had to stir it and stir it and stir it and stir it to get it to dissolve. Now it dissolves instantly. And guess who? It was owned by Nestle for a while, so they kind of changed it. And it was the malt flavor, so you had to use a lot of it if you wanted to get flavor. But you know what you do when you're a kid, you put too much in there. So yeah, Ovaltine was definitely the 1963 Ovaltine is not the same as the 2023 Ovaltine.
Yeah. That's too bad. I just remember growing up with the commercial with Farfel the dog.
Wow. Okay, that is going back. But yeah, I was Nestle's, and the reason we did, I remember my mom used to say it was too expensive, so we got the Nestle's quick. But Ovaltine, and it is expensive. It was always more expensive. But then it had the beet extract. You look at the ingredients. And the old one, I don't think they have it anymore, but it was some type of beet extract or something, BEET. So then it must be good for you. All right. And Eric D says, don't forget about Bosco. Bosco makes them dun. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the little song that went with that. But anyway, that too. That was expensive. Mom didn't like that either. It was like too messy or something. You play with the syrup.
Roger, you remember the Nestle's jingle.
Oh, yeah, Nestles. Nestle's makes the very best. And there was one for Bosco, too.
Roger and Farfel would say chocolate. I love it.
We need an OTR puppet. All right, I am out of here. I'm really enjoying the low staticky non-noise level when nothing's on. It makes things nice. Let's see, the 40-80 meter antenna didn't make it through the storm. That's the wire. It wasn't put up properly anyway. The 10 through 40 vertical didn't make it through the storm, but it wasn't damaged. But the 11 meter antenna, that little starduster that's falling up to pieces, made it through the storm just fine.
Oh, thank goodness. That way you wouldn't have needed a massive antenna tuner.
Well, I'm still using one anyway. All right, good night to everybody from your Old Tube Radio Network.
All right, good night, Dennis, from Butcher Barber.
And glad you're joining us. Glad you're joining us. That's what we want. Have nice local contacts here. CB Radio the way it might have been in 1967, and replays when you want them at oldtuberadio.net and the video site as well. Good night, everybody. 73.
SMS from K0 ABN the group. Yeah, hey, Dr. June, magandang gabi dyan. At yeah, next time hindi mo ako sinabihan eh. That,
man, rigs like that, and that's what he was using. He did a fair job, too.
The guy I'm thinking of was in Southern California.
Now, the guy I'm talking about was in Chico.
Yeah.
Cowboy boots, buckle, Western shirt.
Oh.
Old school.
It's something to look into to find out who that was.
Hotel, Chris.
Daré la palabra, pero no, ahorita no. Anda mal, ¿ves?
Algún accesorio, por ejemplo, micrófono, ecualizador, y hacerlos trabajar, que trabajen bien.
Was trying at the price of.
You don't need one tonight.
Well, thank you.
KB6 Lazy Zipper Whipper.
K6LK clear.
PM.
Left side running.
Coordinated Universal Time.